Hey y'all, welcome to our webinar. I just started letting everyone in, so we're going to give this about 30 seconds to a minute to get a few more guests into the webinar room. As always, if you have been to one of my webinars before, I love it when people let me know that you can hear me. So certainly give me a shout out in the chat section that you can hear me, a wave, something. And also that, ooh, I should get back to the beginning of my slides, that you can see my slides. Awesome, thank you. And the other would be, can you see my welcome page or my opening page of my slide show? Excellent, thank you for letting me know. It's always a good thing. And while we're waiting, I do provide the slideshow in a PDF handout, so you can download it, take notes, and always ask questions at the end. Alrighty, so we're about a minute into this, so I'm going to get started here. And we've got a nice group with us today. My name is Noelle Wilson. I head up the Managed Services and Customer Success Division for BrandChamp. If you're a return visitor, welcome again. And I'm excited to say that today's webinar is from your feedback and from attending my webinars, which means we're doing you right by discussing topics that coincide and hopefully assist with your program. And if you're new, welcome as well. Our webinars are designed so that you can walk away and take something new back to your program to enhance it, modify it. Same with your BrandChamp platform, giving you takeaways to bring light to all the great features that it has to offer your program. So it's worth it. Even if there's one small takeaway, it could create a really big effect for your program. As far as my background, I have been in the ambassador/influencer affiliate industry for about 7 years officially. And I say officially because when I look at the work I did before ambassadors became really a thing for marketing, I was actively involved with event marketing way back when in the medical industry and later on in the athletic industry, all in which I was one who had to reach out to the company I was working with, to our support systems, whether that be medical staffers or event volunteers. I was always working with advocates of the companies I worked for and supported. So while ambassador programs were not my niche per se, anyone who supports a company really is, in my eyes, an ambassador, an advocate, loyalist, or cheerleader who wants to see success for you. So I was fortunate enough to be able to establish great relationships, help companies and brands, and somehow all the while prepare for my next career, creating, cultivating, and managing ambassador programs, and now helping you with your program, whether it be through the BrandChamp platform or just giving you some helpful tips, tricks, and insights to an industry that really has such depth and success. So let's get to it. What are we going to talk about today? Mistakes. And honestly, we're just going to go over what what we see in the industry, and are they really mistakes? My core experience prior to BrandChamp had been with an athletic apparel company, starting with their ambassador program from the ground up. I learned so much along the way, and yes, I hit many bumps in the road, made some mistakes, and the best thing is that because I had an amazing support team with the companies I worked with, we grew from our mistakes. We made adjustments to our programs, our procedures, communications, and more. And we truly grew a successful program, but also a tight community that stuck with us through all those moments of like, whoops, or I probably should have rethought that. Those happen along the way. And today our topic is that some common mistakes that I myself have experienced along the way, but also ones that my team at BrandChamp have experienced. And we all have learned from them and grown from them to make the best decisions for our programs and our customers. Now, don't get me wrong, I am still learning and still making modifications along the way, but that's also what keeps things exciting for a program and a company, and most of all, your ambassadors. So I'd love to keep the conversation going at the end, as always. Just get ready with some questions or comments. I'd love to know, what you've stumbled along the way, because really we all can learn from it, and I think it just helps everybody. So let's get started with what we at BrandChamp have seen as kind of like our top 10. And like I said, are they really mistakes? Well, it could be. We're discussing ones that you may be experiencing, ones you may experience down the road, or you may never experience. All I can say is keep your minds open and know that anything can happen in this industry. So these are like common ones that we feel that were from experiences and opinion based, but people are afraid to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. And we're going to go into each of these in a little more detail. Programs, program size, program growth, who is in your program, communications within your program. So who are you communicating with? How often are you communicating with? What is your ask of your ambassadors? And, is it too much or too little? What is the reward you're offering? Your recruitment. What are you doing to recruit? And are you doing enough and hitting all different avenues? And again, I know I've hit this on probably every webinar I talk about because it really does affect every aspect of every part of an ambassador program is your budget. And then also keeping it simple. So that's our top 10 that we're going to hit on today. All right. You know what? A big mistake is being afraid to make mistakes. Make mistakes. It's okay. And I'm going to start with this one because it really is not platform specific or program specific. It's just important to understand and know that it's okay. As we get ready to build a brand new program, take over from someone who already built it, or just in your day-to-day management, first and foremost, know that there are going to be mistakes or mishaps along the way. So it's important to recognize it and recognize that first and foremost, that you're human and we all make mistakes. And if you recognize it, face it and fix it. This may take some time or it can be rather quick, but I can tell you the longer you put off, the bigger it might get in reality, or it could get bigger in your head, and that can become a deterrent to work on other things. So it's important to take risks, or else you may not know what's out there and what you and your program are capable of, but also possibly what your limits are. I bet you have a great support team who will back you up and be there to help get you through it, because that's what's done is done. All you can do is fix it and make it good. So enough pretty much said on that, except don't beat yourself up. You're just too good. So, and hopefully, if you don't have the numbers with your support team, always know that BrandChamp, our support team, is there for you. If you have any questions along the way, you can always reach out to us through our support channels or individually. I'm going to combine a couple here as they really all relate to each other. So we're going to talk about when programs are built, All too often, we see the hesitation to grow and fill the spots that are available to you, keeping in mind the BrandChamp platform. So let's say you have 500 ambassador spots to fill, but you only have 50 ambassadors that you've onboarded. What's keeping you from growing to fill those extra 450 spots? Let's take a look at the activity level of those 50 ambassadors. I would say in my experience, our most active ambassador base includes approximately 30% of the ambassadors. And with that being said, 30% of 50 is 15 ambassadors. How much traction are you getting from those 15 people? While it could be fabulous and you're getting a return on your investment, let's look at the 30% of 450 people. That's 135 active ambassadors. Your revenue and brand exposure has now more than quadrupled, and good chance your return on investment far exceeds your expectations going into the program. So a few things to consider there, which I always think, like I said, like to talk about is budget and ambassador numbers, because you don't want to get in over your head. What are you offering your ambassador base upfront? If anything, you want to make sure you're rewarding your ambassadors with which is still within reason and not taking away from your revenue. There are ways around this, and I firmly believe that with an ambassador, there is a give and take, so that to ensure that you're getting some return and to make sure that you have an immediate ask in order for a reward to be granted. So this would be great using a feature of the BrandChamp platform being activity rewards. Activity rewards for those that are new to the ambassador world or to the BrandChamp platform are rewards that are immediately granted once a task has been complete. So let's take a look back again at our 500 ambassadors and say, in order for them to get their first reward, they have to review a product or post something about your company brand on social media. Once they do that, then they get their reward or their discount or free product or whatever it may be. This way, you ensure you have exposure you want on their social outlets without giving, and giving. So you come up with a program that will give you exposure and then reward the ambassador. It's a give and take, and when you open it up to fill your spots, it's amazing how the word gets out about your company. So don't be afraid to grow. If you have the platform built to be a streamlined tool, your ambassadors will be ready to jump on and to get to work for you. So plan ahead and get everything built to a place where your program advocates will feel comfortable, not too overwhelmed, and ready to share and spread the good word of your company and products. Finally, are you limiting who joins your program? What do I mean by this? Are you selectively seeking out larger influencers? Are you tapping into the smaller micro or nano influencers? What about your biggest customer base? Your brand loyalists, your cheerleaders? I do see this all too often that your biggest fan base, your customer, is left out of the recruitment process. And I'll get to recruitment shortly. But why? They are your biggest advocates who can talk about your product, your services, your company, mission, your core values, you name it. So why exclude them? If you have the open spots, fill them. Keep in mind, with our tiered and tagged features in BrandChamp on select plans, you can set up a platform that includes everyone. By doing so, you can set up a tiered system so the following can happen. You can have tiered commissions. You can have segmented activities, segmented rewards, segmented communications. It's a little extra work on your end to get this set up to reflect the different tiers, but once you have it down, it's amazing to see the type of work ambassadors will set out to do, but also the revenue brought in, whether it be from specific social media asks or just sharing of a referral link to their following. So don't be afraid to pull in all the different levels of fans and followers to your program. And that's what we show here. So this is just a very detailed view of the ambassador tiering that or tagging that we can do within BrandChamp. Kate, were you all able to hear me again? I see that some can't hear me or some have lost it. And I apologize for this. Just checking in. Great, I'm good now. All right, so communicate. Don't be afraid to communicate. Some of the most successful programs I have seen have some of the most incredible communications. Take the time and communicate with your ambassador base, your affiliates, your program advocates. The more information, the better. Can there be information overload? Of course. So make sure you are not saturating them, but more importantly, make sure you are not neglecting them. Communications can come in many forms, and I can guarantee you your ambassadors will be so grateful of giving them the information in whatever format fits best for your demographic. Email communications. Make sure you establish that first acceptance letter to be welcoming and exciting with enough information to get them ready to roll, but not too much that they're so overwhelmed that they just close the email. You may want to think of weekly email updates, monthly newsletter email updates. Segmented emails to specific groups are one of my favorite aspects of BrandChamp on any level of the program you may have, is to be able to tag a group and send only that group an email communications. You may want to look at social communications. Do you have a private Facebook group? Do you have a Slack group? Any other forum? I know a lot of brands like to do Instagram direct messaging or however direct messaging. Whatever the communications, if this is the forum chosen by your demographic, then use it. I love scheduling posts in private Facebook groups so that when I know something is on the horizon, they will know about it the moment it happens. Slack is an incredible forum of instant notifications and communications. Seek out what works best for your group and communicate. On the flip side, you even want to communicate with the, hey, where are you? What's going on? Don't be afraid to tap into the inactive ambassadors or program participants. They may have some personal struggles and appreciate your personal outreach. They may realize they don't have the time and they may not be getting your communications altogether. Regardless, you need to find out and either work with or remove those inactive ambassadors because it's your time and your budget that you're investing in your program, and all parties should be actively involved. Remember, it's a two-sided opportunity and only fair that you all communicate. Rewards. Let's talk about rewards because some are frankly just not desirable, but many are. So I want to clarify that. Are your rewards worth it? Would you want the rewards that you're offering? Keep in mind your ambassadors, influencers, or program advocates are there, and I would hope for number one, because they love your product, brand, company, or service. And number two, they want to share the good word about it. But also, number three, they want to be rewarded for it. So, what are you asking of them? And what are you rewarding in return? Sometimes the work may seem more than it's worth, but if you have a program that gives great offerings based on the asks, you will see the return. So, what are some great rewards? Well, this again depends on the company and what can be offered. Some of the most successful rewards I have seen where ambassadors come back over and over again are free product, discounted product, free shipping, gift certificates or gift cards to famous brands or other e-commerce sites that are widely known. Branded swag, but good branded swag like tees and truckers, magnets, sling bags, maybe discounts to industry partners. I know I've had some groups where ambassadors absolutely love to tap into some of our industry partners and to be able to give them a 30% off or 40% or 50% off to a partnering brand is huge. So tap into those relationships. And I also recommend evaluating your reward structure on a monthly or quarterly basis and get rid of what's not working. On a side note, as you start a program, and I know I mentioned this before, it's always great to give a reasonable, quote unquote, instant gratification rewards, meaning when you sign up for the program, you do something simple. Follow the brand on Instagram or announce that you're an ambassador or do a product review. And based on one of those asks, you get an instant reward, which in BrandChamp is called an activity reward. It can be something as simple as $5 off or 30% off your next order, or whichever it may be, or a branded t-shirt. Your ambassadors will see from there that the system actually works and they'll keep coming back. Alrighty, moving on to recruitment. Short and simple. I see hesitations with recruiting. So go ahead and recruit. Don't be afraid to recruit. Look at how you're doing it. How are you recruiting your ambassador base? Don't limit to annual or quarterly social posts or stories. Maybe think about emailing your whole customer database. Have a highlight that lives on your Instagram feed. Maybe do a monthly social post. Advertise on your shipping notices or your order notices, which is so great because a lot of people, they get that order notification in their email or their text or however it may be, and they scroll to look through to make sure that the order went through. And right at the bottom, have a recruitment for your ambassador program. Also ask your current base, your ambassador base, to recruit for you. It's always great to get your creative marketing team to provide some social graphics for you to have your ambassadors share on their feeds to recruit. And then I've also had experience with direct messaging. I've worked with a couple of brands where they have searched out tags on Instagram and direct messaged and just said, hey, do you want to be an ambassador? And we've had some great returns on that. So there's so many ways to recruit. And like I said, don't be afraid to. The worst that can happen is that you have an influx of applications to choose from. And that's actually a good problem to have. So on one last note about recruitment that could be considered a mistake or not, but just a little word of advice, pay attention to your applicants. While we want everyone to be honest and forthright and legit, you may need to do a little digging to make sure you're getting a tried and true brand supporter. All right, coming to the end here. Second to last is budget, which I know everybody loves to hear about. And I talk about it because this is what I went through in my program. A common mistake I see along the way is that ambassador programs are not really taken into the marketing budget and all the different layers of it. When building and maintaining a program, you always need to budget and have room in your budget for more than just the software and the management staffing piece of it. A mistake I personally fell into and learned from was not budgeting enough for my rewards that I was giving out. I was handing out gift certificates like nobody's business. And while the company was making a very good revenue from the social sharing, we still went way above what was intended for the rewards. So keep in mind, you'll want to budget for everything. And, look at the reward section that we just talked about with those gift certificates, with your even product discounts or free product, it's still coming from somewhere. So take a look at that because it's no fun mid-year to realize you've run out of rewards and have to dip into another budget area to take care of your ambassadors. So another budget mistake I have seen is the staffing requirement to manage an ambassador program. Ambassador programs are marketing programs. They need someone with the expertise to understand the ambassador base, the strategies to market, recruit, onboard, and manage a program, as well as manage a platform. An ambassador management program is a marketing expertise program and should be staffed and budgeted as such. So you all are doing some incredible work with your programs, and I just think it's really important to make sure that it's always accounted for in that level of staffing. Finally, I'm passing this on not only from me, but also my colleague Kyle, who many of you have spoken with along the way of sales. And before I came to BrandChamp, he was probably your support system as well, and probably still is for many. But he can't stress enough, keep it simple. It is just, if you create too many rules, regulations, activities, and asks, you will have some very confused ambassadors or maybe confused staffing or even yourself. So very simply, keep your communications to the point. Keep your activities simple and realistic. and keep your rewards accessible. If you want to tier out your program, keep your large influencers up to date with their codes and their links, while your cheerleaders with enough social asks that the word gets out, and your loyalist base is set up with just a few asks. For example, follow us on Instagram, post a product review, do a once a month lifestyle post. Nothing crazy. Keep it realistic and know that if you ask too much, you may do a few things, which would be you might lose your ambassador. You might drown out your ambassador's base, which I see happen over and over again. If you put out so many activities where an ambassador is left to be able to post on a daily, weekly basis of many of the same themes or products or brands, they will potentially drown out their following. And then you could also lose money because your ambassador is still posting according to your activities and they're posting to a drowned out crowd and you're still rewarding them. So in summary, we all make mistakes. It's not a bad thing. We learn from them. So take what you've learned and grow. And in the meanwhile, you'll probably make a great revenue with your program. So with that, I want to open this up for some questions. And I do apologize. I'm not sure this darn webinar system will sometimes glitch out like that, that we lost some audio. So I would love to hear any questions or comments that you may have about questions of mistakes made along the way that you've had or that you may think you're experiencing, and how we can help and how others can help you. So I will open this up for questions. You can always post them in the chat or in the Q&A section. And while those are drumming up, what I would also like to let everyone know who is on this webinar is that as Black Friday is approaching, I know that we have a lot going on and we're all preparing for our product launches, our big sales, whatever it may be. Make sure you tap into your ambassador base because they're some of your best marketers. And also we at BrandChamp are having our own Black Friday sale, which is 50% off of our managed services packages. We have packages for the starter plan, the growth plan, and the community plan. And if you get in touch with myself, Noelle at brandchamp.io, or Kyle, who's in our sales and customer success team, Kyle at brandchamp.io, we can certainly talk to you about it because, like I said, we want to make sure that your platforms and your programs are managed to the best of your program can be. And so we would love to help you out there. So let's see if we've got any questions along the way. See how we're doing. No questions yet. Anything published? Just checking out the chat here. And that would be awesome if I did this whole presentation without everyone hearing me, but hopefully you can. Oh, I have. Okay, so someone is saying that they are able to download the presentation and is not showing in the handout section. Okay, I will make sure that I email that to everybody so that you have all this information to compare with any notes or any audio. So thank you for letting me know that. Anybody else? Any questions? We're in a little bit of a delay, so I will keep this open. Well, that's interesting because let me click share. So I've shared the presentation in the handout section. So we'll see if it shows up then. Any other questions we may have? Any comments you may have? Well, I hope everybody is getting ready for their Black Friday week. I know some of you are already probably in the thick of it with your promotions, and if not, that you have a wonderful holiday week and everyone stay safe and healthy. And I want to thank everybody for joining the webinar. What we will do is review the webinar, make sure the audio was all in sync so that we can have it replayed. If you want to share it with anybody, have anybody listen, and always email me if you have any questions about the platform, anything about BrandChamp. We'd love to help you out. And don't forget that we've got the 50% off of managed service packages. And, we would love to help you out just to, see your programs successful.